through this really lovable kind of lovable idiot. I don't want to call him an idiot, but
put a camera on me, we can chat forever. I mean, they're gonna cut me off and be like, "Oh, you got 8 minutes, 10 minutes." What? Tell me to like model pictures, and I'm just like, "What do I do with my hands? What do I do with my hands?"
I know.
I know. You see people that are good at it, and I don't know if it's appealing or
just vain.
I feel like it's more like a feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't figured it out.
That's how they describe it. I don't know. Yeah, it's just a vibe.
You're in a comfortable place there?
I am.
Yeah.
Stupid glasses. Yeah.
All right. It is
Okay.
all yours, sir.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
the film festival. I love this festival. I want to know, are you guys enjoying the festival?
Yeah.
I've just got here, so I'm really excited.
Have you ever been to TIFF before?
No, it's my first time.
Okay, you're going to have a great time. I promise you that. You've been.
I've been a couple times actually. I've been here with other films, but also just I've been filming in Toronto while it's going on. It's just a really fun time. Like everyone cool's in town. Audiences are really, they want to see good movies, and everybody's. This is like my favorite festival, I think.
See, he just said everything I
It sounds
wanted.
like it's everyone's.
Perfect. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that. But especially for this film, like when I heard the concept, I was like, wait, that can't be real. Like when you first heard the concept or read the script, what was your initial reaction?
It was just that. There's no way this all happened. I kept flipping to the front page and rereading. This is a true story.
Right.
And even more specifically, the guy Chickie Donohue was. You know, he's with us here today. He's traveling around giving interviews, but he just confirms all this stuff with like almost like a savant-like memory. So we really went on what happened out there.
Chickie is a legend.
Chickie is a legend.
Such a
I
legend.
could not believe that Chickie actually pulled it off. The only thing I wanted to see was like what happened after, like with Chickie. What else is Chickie up to?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the book, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
In fact, that's sort of where you find out about most of these relationships. The people that he's out there visiting, his friends on the front lines. That's sort of towards the last bit of the book, and it really is the magic of the story.
And there are a couple like messages in the film as well. Obviously, your character wasn't too happy with Chickie right off the top. Tell us about your character and obviously your experience with this very, very interesting and entertaining story.
Well, the character, for a start, the fact that we were able to meet that Christine is here. She's living and breathing in here. She's amazing. Yeah. She's had an amazing life, and it was a really inspirational role to play because I see her as kind of like she's a symbol of change and social justice and kind of for women and for the anti-war movement, and it was just a great role to in terms of researching, in terms of the time period that so much was happening. Being able to sink your teeth into it was just really exciting.
And also timely, too, I just realized in terms of what's happening in this world right now.
Totally.
Yeah, war is a terrible thing, and specifically the Vietnam War, it brought to light that we don't always know what's going on. The media is not always portraying it exactly as, truthfully. And so, there's a lot of really complex, dramatic, heavy, sort of sensitive issues that we dive into in this movie. Yeah. But that's one of the greatest things about Pete and the way that he writes and sort of weaves or finds his way into these stories is it's through this really lovable kind of a lovable idiot. I don't want to call him an idiot.
Like the whole time you're loving him, but you're like, Chickie, stop. That's enough. Like after certain points, you're just like, that is a great checkpoint. Finish while you're ahead, Chickie. So I know exactly what you mean. You love the guy, but it's like, oh my God, please stop before it's too late.
Exactly.
I know you just brought up Pete, and you told him you wanted to play a role that people wouldn't expect. What was it about Chickie, this lovable idiot, as you call him, that made you say, you know what, this is it?
I kind of knew this guy. I don't know if he was sort of versions of friends that I grew up with, and the way that he sort of looked out for his friends, and just really had compassion for what they were going through, and his feelings of powerlessness at what they were experiencing on the front lines, and hearing all of the sort of negative press that they were getting back home, and knowing that no one's doing anything about it, and the powerlessness that he felt there. And I thought it was inspiring that he did the only thing he really knew how to do, which was prove that somebody was still standing behind him, and show up and bring all of his friends a beer. It's the most reckless decision I've ever heard. It's one of the craziest things I've ever heard, but I think it's really beautiful.
I legit I checked a couple times, like, wait, am I remembering this right? I've watched a lot of movies in the last little bit. I'm like, am I remembering this right? This is actually based on a true story.
Yeah.
And oh man, I mean, and actually, when you're working on a film like this, or playing any role, and you have the opportunity to meet the real person, does that not add like a completely different element to this craft?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, it does. It adds a good kind of pressure, I think. It's having them still around. It makes you all the more. First of all, you have somebody to go and talk to.
Does it make it easier or harder, you think?
It's a mix of the two. I don't know if I would say it made it harder. It just added. The extra. You want to do them justice, and you want to make sure that they enjoy it, that their family enjoys it, that it's depicted appropriately, justly, and do the story give it the honor it deserves.
For sure.
Yeah.
What was Zac like as a scene partner?
He was great. He was so supportive.
Yeah.
Every time they'd go cut, and he'd be like, "Oh man, I'm so great, I'm so great." I'd be like, "Thank you, thank you."
You crushed it. We had some crazy scenes too, because we always seemed to be fighting. We were fighting.
My first scene, I had to give him a really hard shove, and at first I was like, "Oh God, I really don't want to hurt him," and then I gave you a really big good shove, didn't I?
And we used it.
And we used it, but no, he's great. It is really nice watching him play quite a goofy character. He's such a world-known heartthrob. But it's just really nice,
Look at that! You made him have to take a drink of water.
It was fun. We got to do some really cool stuff. I think you shine really bright in this film, and it was nice. It's really, she's her sort of point of view in this movie is, very anti-war, and this is his sister, and he doesn't know how to explain it to her, and so we have a lot of sort of tension in our scenes, and it goes from love to arguing to hate to love very quickly and up and down. It's like a very good brother-sister connection.
Yeah.
I thought the writing was really strong in that way, because by the end of it, you've got all the sort of opinions and perspectives and the information. Then you feel how you want to feel at the end of it, but I think it was sort of laid out fairly for the audience. Talk about Russell Crowe. There was a couple cameos in there that were big surprises for me, but your experience working with him.
Russell's unbelievable, man. He came out to Thailand, and the whole demeanor on set just changed.
Right.
You knew there was a pro around. I felt like everybody just picked up the pace and was on point, and a lot of the stuff that in the scenes with Russell, he's playing sort of a combination of several characters that Chickie really met, which were all the photographers and news journalists out in Vietnam, and he really takes Chickie under his wing and kind of guides him through this experience. He's like, what are you doing out here? You have no clue what you're doing. Come here. I'll help you out a little bit. And that it was really nice to work with Russell because he's such a professional. He's all about this craft and this art. He lifts everything up around him. And I really thought the dynamic between his character and Chickie somewhat mirrored, Russell and me in real life, what we were going through. I felt like he had my back and took me under. He was a great scene partner.
What I loved about that character was he was reacting to Chickie the way I was from my couch. He was saying all the things I wanted to say. It was a nice touch. In terms of the anti-war protesters that lived it in that time, or people that were actually a part of the Vietnam War, if they get eyes on this, how do you think that they'll feel, and how would you want them to feel about this film?
I think they'd be pleased with it. I think at the end of the day, it's you know, she I mean, Christine kind of sees it and she's part of it, and that they're in the film. And then when you go away, when Chickie goes to Vietnam, at the beginning, I guess it's all, you know, everyone's not pro-war, but I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're
It's
saying.
difficult. Ultimately, you know, even the people at the beginning of the story, you know, that are saying, you know, you can't hate on our troops. They're over there for the right reasons. There's so much misinformation, and it was such a crazy time. Like I can't like say that I can relate or even have a really perspective on what they were all going through, but it definitely sheds a light on some specific stories and about what people experienced in this war, and it was a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
There's so many layers to it. But that's why I said I thought the writing was so strong, because by the end of it, you do get those sort of different perspectives, those different opinions. I feel like there's enough information for you to land with.
But also, it's just, the film is set, it's kind of the start. It's only a year into like when the anti-war effort was really getting going.
Right.
So it's still kind of, you know, in New York, and for their community in particular, you know, it's an Irish Christian community who were, you know, really patriotic. And so you see a snippet of that in New York, and what, you know, that it's starting to bubble away, and you know.
Yeah, at the beginning, Chickie's, you know, in this very, very tight-knit community, like she was saying, and you know, every couple weeks or months, they're going to funerals for his friends, kids that were younger than him, or kids that were his age, that he grew up and went to school with. So you'd pass their moms in the street, and you know, on the way to funerals, and so you can see how conflicted Chickie must have felt. For sure. Hearing sort of an anti-war, you know, sort of stance coming in when his friends are out there fighting and dying.
Listen, thank you guys both. That's my time. Like the video? Then hit the button, or better yet, drop us a comment. Then check out our latest videos here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button here for more celebrity interviews and entertainment news.